Captain Jin Seo-jun sat quietly in the back row of the Great Council chamber. Around him, representatives from dozens of alien species filled the curved seats of Nexus Prime, the galaxy's most important space station. The massive chamber buzzed with translated voices as beings discussed trade routes, territorial disputes, and scientific discoveries. Jin watched Ambassador Kethvar of the Altarian Empire step up to the speaking platform. The tall, blue-skinned alien carried himself with the confidence of someone whose people had ruled space for 12,000 years. His forearms moved gracefully as he began his presentation. "Fellow citizens of the galaxy," Kethvar said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's speakers. "Today, I present our updated galactic timeline, incorporating the latest archaeological discoveries from across known space." A holographic display appeared above the platform, showing a spiral galaxy with different colored regions marking various civilizations. Jin noticed how small Earth's territory looked compared to the vast empires surrounding it. "The Zephyrian Confederation," Kethvar continued, gesturing to a large purple section, "achieved faster than light travel 8,000 years ago. They gave us our first lessons in quantum mechanics and energy manipulation." Murmurs of approval came from the Zephyrian delegates, their crystalline bodies chiming softly with pleasure at the recognition. "The Corvan Republic." The ambassador pointed to a green area. "Mastered biotechnology 6,000 years ago, and shared their medical knowledge freely with younger species." Jin shifted uncomfortably as he saw where this presentation was heading. Near the end of the timeline, a tiny yellow dot appeared. "And finally, we come to our newest members," Kethvar said, with what Jin could only describe as an amused smile. "The humans of Earth achieved spaceflight a mere 400 years ago. While their enthusiasm is admirable, we must remember that they are essentially children in galactic terms." Gentle laughter rippled through the chamber. Jin felt his jaw tighten, but he remained silent. This was not the first time he had heard such comments. "Their attempts to contribute to galactic science are quite charming," Kethvar continued. "Just last month, their researchers claimed to have found evidence of advanced technology on their homeworld dating back 50,000 years. Of course, any serious scientist knows this must be contamination from ancient alien visits or simple misunderstanding of geological processes." More chuckles came from the audience. Jin noticed Dr. Park Min-ae, Earth's chief xenoarchaeologist, gripping her datapad so tightly her knuckles had turned white. She had been the one to make that discovery, and Jin knew how carefully she had documented everything. "We encourage our human friends to continue their studies," the Altarian ambassador said with patronizing kindness. "Every species must learn at their own pace. Perhaps in another few thousand years, they will develop the sophisticated understanding needed for true scientific contribution." Jin had heard enough. He stood up, his movement causing several nearby delegates to turn and stare. "Ambassador Kethvar," he said clearly, "I appreciate your historical overview, but I believe some of your conclusions about Earth may need revision." The chamber fell silent. It was rare for humans to speak up during these formal sessions. Most alien species considered it rude for such a young civilization to interrupt their elders. Kethvar's expression showed mild surprise mixed with amusement. "Captain Jin, of course you may speak. We always welcome the perspectives of developing species." Jin felt the condescension in those words, but kept his voice level. Dr. Park's findings were documented using the same methods accepted by this council for archaeological work on other worlds. "The artifacts we discovered show clear signs of human manufacture and display technology that exceeds current human capabilities." "Yes," Kethvar interrupted gently. "Which is precisely why we know they cannot be genuine human artifacts. Your species has existed for only a few 100,000 years and achieved spaceflight just recently. The mathematics simply do not support such ancient technological achievement." Murmurs of agreement came from around the chamber. Jin noticed several delegates nodding their heads in what they probably thought was encouraging support for the confused human. Dr. Park stood up beside Jin. Her voice was calm, but firm. Ambassador, with respect, our dating methods are precise. The mineral formations around these artifacts show clear stratification patterns. The technology is definitely human in origin. An elderly Zephyrian named Elder Velton spoke up from his position near the front. Young human, I have studied ancient civilizations for 3,000 years. I have seen the remnants of dozens of species who thought they were older and greater than they truly were. Pride often leads to such misinterpretations. But Elder Velton, Dr. Park replied, what if the misinterpretation is in the opposite direction? What if Earth's history is actually much deeper than current theories suggest? The chamber erupted in surprised chatter. Several delegates seemed shocked that a human would question the established galactic timeline so directly. Kethvar raised his hands for silence. Dr. Park, I understand your desire to elevate your species' status, but we must deal with facts. Every civilization's development follows predictable patterns. Spaceflight leads to interstellar expansion, which leads to contact with other species. Humans achieved spaceflight 4 centuries ago and contacted us shortly afterward. This timeline is well documented. 1. Jin felt frustrated. How could he explain that there were things about Earth's history that even most humans did not know? Information that was classified at the highest levels of Earth's government? Before he could respond, an urgent alarm began sounding throughout the station. Red lights flashed as an automated voice announced. Priority communication from Galactic Observatory Network. All council members report to emergency session immediately. The chamber's main screen activated, showing Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the observatory's chief scientist. Her face was pale with worry. Council members, she said without preamble. We have detected a massive energy wave approaching from the galactic core. Current projections show it will reach inhabited space in approximately 6 months. The chamber fell deadly silent. Jin felt ice form in his stomach. The wave appears to be some form of exotic radiation, Doctor. Tanaka continued. Its energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. Based on its size and power, it poses a potential extinction-level threat to all inhabited worlds in its path. Elder Velton stood up slowly, his crystalline body trembling. The Great Cleansing, he whispered, loud enough for nearby delegates to hear. The ancient texts spoke of the Great Cleansing that comes from the galaxy's heart. What texts? Kethvar demanded. What do you know about this? Fragments only, the old Zephyrian replied, his voice shaking. Pieces of stories passed down from our earliest days. Warnings about a force that sweeps the galaxy clean every few cycles. But the records are incomplete. No civilization has preserved the full knowledge. Jin looked at Dr. Park, seeing his own thoughts reflected in her eyes. Maybe it was time for Earth to stop pretending to be young. The galaxy had just 6 months to find an answer to a threat that had destroyed civilizations before. And Jin had a terrible feeling that the solution lay buried in Earth's hidden past. 3 days after the emergency announcement, Jin and Dr. Park stood on the observation deck of their transport ship, watching Earth grow larger in the viewport. The blue and white marble looked peaceful, showing no signs of the ancient secrets Jin knew it held. The Council gave us 2 weeks to search human databases for any information about cosmic waves, Dr. Park said quietly. They think we're going on a hopeless mission to make ourselves feel useful. Jin nodded. Let them think that. We both know what we're really looking for. Jin, we looking for. As soon as their ship landed at Seoul Spaceport, Jin activated his secure communicator. This is Captain Jin So-jun, requesting immediate transport to Site Omega. Authorization code Alpha 779. Within an hour, an unmarked aircraft picked them up and flew west across Asia. Dr. Park watched the landscape pass below. knowing they were heading toward one of Earth's most carefully guarded secrets. The aircraft landed in what appeared to be empty desert in the Gobi. Jin led Dr. Park to a simple metal door built into a small hill. He placed his hand on a scanner, and the door opened with a soft hiss. "Welcome to the real human history," Jin said. They descended in an elevator that dropped much deeper than Dr. Park had expected. When the doors opened, she gasped. They stood in a vast underground chamber filled with artifacts that clearly showed human design but used technology far beyond anything currently available. "How long has this existed?" she asked, walking toward a display case containing what looked like a star map made of some kind of energy projection. "The facility was built in 1987, Jin replied. "But the artifacts inside are much, much older. Some date back 50,000 years. Others are even older than that." Dr. Park stared at devices she could not even begin to understand. Crystal matrices that seemed to bend light around themselves, metal alloys that felt warm to the touch and hummed with internal energy, computer interfaces that responded to thought rather than physical input. "Jin, this technology is centuries ahead of what we have now. How could ancient humans have built these things?" Before he could answer, footsteps echoed across the chamber. Admiral Kim Young-ho emerged from a side corridor, his weathered face serious. "Dr. Park, Captain Jin," the Admiral said formally. "I'm afraid the cosmic wave situation has forced us to accelerate our timeline considerably." "What timeline?" Dr. Park asked. Admiral Kim gestured for them to follow him deeper into the facility. "The timeline for revealing Earth's true history. Dr. Park, everything you've been told about human development is carefully constructed fiction." They entered a conference room where holographic displays showed star charts covering the entire galaxy. Dr. Park noticed that many systems were marked with symbols she didn't recognize. 50,000 years ago, Admiral Kim began, humanity had a civilization that spanned hundreds of star systems. We had technology that made current galactic science look primitive. We could manipulate matter at the quantum level, travel between dimensions, and predict cosmic events with perfect accuracy. Dr. Park sat down heavily. "That's impossible. Where did it all go? What happened to this ancient civilization?" "They chose to abandon it," Admiral Kim said simply. "You see, our ancestors discovered that the galaxy experiences regular cycles of cosmic radiation. Every 50,000 years, massive energy waves sweep out from the galactic core. These waves don't just destroy technology. They reset the development of any species that hasn't learned to protect itself." Jin activated one of the holographic displays. It showed a timeline of galactic history with regular marks every 50,000 years. "Our ancestors survived the last wave," Jin explained. "But afterward, they made a decision. They realized that if they continued to dominate the galaxy with their advanced technology, younger species would never learn to develop their own capabilities. So they chose to hide," Admiral Kim continued. "They dismantled their empire, sealed their technology, and went into what they called shepherding mode. They would guide younger civilizations subtly, helping them develop naturally while pretending to be primitive themselves." Dr. Park stared at the timeline. The Altarians, the Zephyrians, all the major civilizations. When did they really achieve space flight? "Exactly when they think they did," Admiral Kim replied. "But they had help. Hidden human outposts provided crucial technologies at just the right moments. A quantum computer design left on an Altarian world. Medical databases accidentally discovered by Zephyrian explorers. Navigation systems that appeared to be naturally occurring phenomena. We've been gardeners, Jin said, helping the galaxy grow while staying hidden in the background. Dr. Park walked over to the star chart, studying the marked systems. These symbols, they're human outposts? Some active, some abandoned. Admiral Kim confirmed. For 50,000 years, We've been the galaxy's secret guardians. And now, the cycle is beginning again. A new display activated, showing the approaching energy wave. Unlike the rough estimates shown at the Galactic Council, this projection was precise and detailed. Our ancestors left detailed instructions about this cosmic event, Admiral Kim said. They called it the Great Filter. Species that can't adapt to the energy wave don't survive. Those that do advance to the next level of galactic civilization. But the current galactic species aren't ready, Dr. Park realized. They don't have the technology to survive something like this. No, they don't, Jin agreed. Which means we have to make a choice. Do we continue hiding and let them face this alone? Or do we reveal ourselves and risk changing the galaxy forever? Admiral Kim pulled up another display showing energy readings from across the solar system. The decision may be out of our hands. Our ancestors left automated systems to handle cosmic waves. These systems have been dormant for 50,000 years, but they're starting to wake up as the wave approaches. Dr. Park could see strange energy signatures appearing around Luna, Mars, and several asteroid installations. Other civilizations will detect these readings. They already are, Admiral Kim said. We have reports of alien scout ships investigating unusual energy sources in our outer system. It won't be long before they realize Earth is not the primitive world they thought it was. Jin studied the wave projection. How much time do we have? The wave will hit the outer edge of galactic civilization in about 5 months, Admiral Kim replied. It will reach Earth in 6 months. That doesn't give us much time to prepare the galaxy. Monthly sent surf. Admiral Kim. Prepare them for what exactly? Dr. Park asked. Admiral Kim activated a final display showing complex technological schematics. For the truth. This cosmic wave isn't just destruction. It's also opportunity. Species that survive it gain access to new levels of physics and technology. But survival requires cooperation on a scale the galaxy has never seen. The shield network, Jin breathed, recognizing some of the schematics. Our ancestors built a galaxy-spanning protection system, but it requires activation from multiple points, Admiral Kim confirmed. No single species can operate it alone. Every major civilization will need to contribute their unique capabilities while following human protocols. Dr. Park laughed, but there was no humor in it. So we need to convince species who think we're primitive children that we're actually their ancient teachers, and then get them to work together using technology they can't understand. Exactly, Admiral Kim said. And we have less than 6 months to do it. Jin looked at the wave projection again, noting how it had grown since the Galactic Council meeting just 3 days ago. Admiral, some of the alien fleets are already panicking. Their outer colonies are reporting system failures as the wave's edge effects reach them, which means we're out of time for gradual revelation, Admiral Kim decided. Dr. Park, I need you to prepare a complete archaeological presentation proving human civilization's true age. Use everything in this facility, if necessary. And Jin, contact Earth Defense Command. It's time to activate the Awakening Protocol. As they prepared to leave the underground facility, Dr. Park took one last look at the ancient human artifacts. Tomorrow, the galaxy would begin learning that everything they thought they knew about human history was wrong. The question was whether they could handle the truth in time to save themselves. The hidden facility on Luna's far side had been sleeping for 50,000 years. Now, as Captain Jin Seojun walked through corridors that hadn't seen human footsteps since Earth's last ice age, emergency lighting flickered to life around him. Incredible, Dr. Park whispered. Running her hand along walls made of a material that seemed to absorb and redirect light. This entire base was built inside the moon itself. Admiral Kim led their small team deeper into the complex. Luna Base Prime is just one node in a network that spans the solar system. Our ancestors chose the moon because its lack of atmosphere made it perfect for the quantum resonance equipment they needed. They entered a vast chamber that stretched far beyond the reach of their lights. As they walked forward, sections of the space gradually illuminated, revealing massive cylindrical structures that reached from floor to ceiling. Shield generators, Admiral Kim explained. Each one capable of protecting an entire star system from cosmic radiation. But they require precise coordination to work properly. Jin studied the ancient control panels, noting symbols and interfaces that human science was only beginning to understand. How do we even operate this technology? Our current understanding of quantum mechanics is barely advanced enough to read the diagnostic displays. That's where 50,000 years of hidden preparation comes in, Admiral Kim said with a slight smile. He led them to a central platform, where a complex holographic interface waited. Our ancestors didn't just abandon their technology. They spent centuries creating simplified control systems that future humans could use. Dr. Park watched in amazement as Admiral Kim activated the interface with a series of gestures. The entire chamber came alive with soft blue light, and the shield generators began to hum with power. The system is designed to guide operators through the process, Admiral Kim explained. But it still requires human decision-making at critical points. The ancient builders believed that survival should depend on wisdom, not just technology. This for. Suddenly, alarm signals began flashing throughout the chamber. A holographic display showed dozens of alien spacecraft approaching Earth at high speed. Looks like our secret is out, Jin said grimly, recognizing the ship configurations of several galactic powers. Back on Earth, similar scenes were playing out at hidden facilities across the planet. Ancient installations in Antarctica, deep ocean bases, and orbital platforms that had been disguised as space debris for millennia were all coming online simultaneously. Elder Veltan stood on the bridge of a Zephyrian exploration vessel, studying the energy readings that were pouring in from human space. His crystalline body chimed softly with confusion and growing excitement. These quantum signatures, he said to his science team. They match fragments from the oldest texts in our archives. The mathematical patterns are identical to references about the first shepherds. Ambassador Kethvar was having a very different reaction aboard his Altarian command ship. The proud diplomat stared at displays showing energy outputs that exceeded anything in the Altarian Empire's capabilities. This is impossible, he said to his aide. No species develops this level of technology in just 4 centuries. There must be some mistake in our readings. But the readings were correct. And they were growing stronger by the hour. As more human facilities activated, the galaxy began to understand that Earth was not the primitive world they had believed it to be. On Luna Base Prime, Jin received an urgent communication from Earth Defense Command. Captain, we're getting hails from 17 different alien fleets, Admiral Lee reported from orbit. Some are demanding explanations. Others are requesting permission to enter human space, and a few are making threats. How do you want to respond? Rever 5. R. Lease Peace. This war. Leasematically Rever 5. R. Rever 5. Jin looked at Admiral Kim, who nodded gravely. Tell them we'll answer all questions in 12 hours. Set up a meeting point at the edge of the solar system, but make it clear that any hostile actions will be met with appropriate responses. Sir, some of these fleets include species that could easily overwhelm our conventional defenses, Admiral Lee warned. Our conventional defenses, yes, Jin replied. But we're not using conventional defenses anymore. He activated another section of the Luna Base's systems. Defensive platforms that had been hidden throughout the solar system for millennia suddenly became visible on every alien scanner. The sheer number and power of these installations sent shockwaves through the approaching fleets. Dr. Park was working frantically to compile evidence that would support their revelations. Jin, I'm finding archaeological markers on dozens of worlds throughout the galaxy. Every major civilization has ancient sites that show clear signs of human influence. How did our ancestors hide this for so long? Jin wondered. Admiral Kim pulled up historical records from the base's archives. Time and careful planning, They knew that younger species would eventually develop deep space archaeology. So, they made sure the evidence would be there when it was needed. But subtle enough that it wouldn't be noticed until someone was specifically looking for it. The approaching cosmic wave was making itself known in more dramatic ways. Reports came in from across the galaxy of technology failures, communication disruptions, and strange atmospheric phenomena on worlds near the wave's leading edge. The outer colonies of the Corvan Republic are evacuating, Dr. Park reported, monitoring galactic communications. They're saying their quantum processors are being affected by some kind of interference. It's starting, Admiral Kim said quietly. The wave's preliminary effects always begin months before the main event. Any species without proper shielding will see their technology start failing. Jin realized the terrible position Earth now found itself in. They had the knowledge and technology to save the galaxy, but revealing it meant admitting to 50,000 years of deception. Many species would see this as betrayal rather than protection. Admiral, what do we know about how previous cycles ended? When the wave passed before, what happened to the civilizations that survived? Admiral Kim called up ancient records that told a story of transformation and growth. Those that survived always emerged stronger. The cosmic wave doesn't just test technology. It tests cooperation, wisdom, and the ability to put survival above pride. But first, they have to trust us enough to accept our help, Dr. Park added. On the bridge of Elder Veltan's ship, the old Zephyrian was having a breakthrough. Deep in his people's oldest archives, he found references to the teachers who wait and the hidden shepherds who guide the young. Captain, he told his ship's commander, send a priority message to the human vessels. Tell them that Elder Veltan of the Zephyrian Archive Council requests permission to speak with their leadership about the ancient texts. Ambassador Kethvar, meanwhile, was struggling with readings that challenged everything he thought he knew about galactic history. His scientists reported finding quantum signatures embedded in Altarian technology that matched the energy patterns now emerging from human space. Sir, his chief scientist reported nervously, these patterns suggest that core components of our technology might have been influenced by outside sources. Very old outside sources. The cosmic wave continued its approach, now less than 5 months from the edge of civilized space. Across the galaxy, younger civilizations began to understand that they faced something beyond their ability to comprehend or resist. And at the center of it all, humanity prepared to step out of the shadows they had maintained for 50 millennia. Jin stood in the ancient control room on Luna, knowing that the next few hours would determine whether the galaxy's species could overcome their pride and prejudices long enough to save themselves. The truth was about to change everything, and there would be no going back to the comfortable fiction that Earth was young and humanity was just another developing species. The real test of whether the galaxy was ready for advancement was about to begin. The meeting point Admiral Kim had chosen was an empty region of space just beyond Pluto's orbit. Here, more than 30 alien fleets had gathered, their ships forming a loose sphere around a single human vessel. Captain Jin So-jun stood on the bridge of Earth's most advanced diplomatic ship, watching the alien formations through the view screen. Some of those fleets could destroy Earth 3 times over, Dr. Park observed quietly. Are we really going to tell them the truth? Jin nodded grimly. We don't have a choice anymore. The cosmic wave will be here in 4 months. Either we work together, or we all die separately. Admiral Kim activated the ship's communication system, broadcasting to all vessels simultaneously. Representatives of the galactic community, this is Admiral Kim Young-ho of the Earth Defense Force. We thank you for accepting our invitation to discuss the current crisis. Ambassador Kethvar was the first to respond, his image appearing on the main screen. Behind him, Jin could see the bridge of an Altarian command vessel filled with nervous-looking officers. Admiral Kim, Kethvar said with barely controlled anger. We demand an explanation for the energy signatures emanating from your system. Our sensors indicate technology levels that exceed anything in known space. Elder Veltan's image joined the communication from his Zephyrian ship. The old scholar looked excited rather than angry. Human leaders. I have spent the last 48 hours studying our oldest archives. I believe you have answers to questions my people have been asking for 3,000 years. Jin stepped forward. Elder Veltan is correct. We do have answers. But they will require you to reconsider everything you believe about galactic history. Speak plainly, human, demanded General Mortak of the Corvan Republic. His insectoid features showed clear skepticism. What lies are you preparing to tell us? You. Admiral Kim activated a holographic projector. The space around their ship filled with a detailed timeline of galactic history. But this version was very different from what the assembled species had learned. 50,000 years ago, Admiral Kim began. Humanity achieved interstellar civilization. We had technology that could manipulate matter at the quantum level, travel between dimensions, and predict cosmic events across millions of years. The alien representatives erupted in protests and accusations of fraud. Jin waited for the noise to die down before continuing. We know this is difficult to accept, but examine your own archaeological records more carefully. Doctor, Park has prepared evidence that will show human influence in the development of every major galactic civilization. Dr. Park's image appeared on the screens of every alien ship, showing detailed archaeological findings. Ancient Altarian quantum computers contained design elements that matched human mathematical principles. Zephyrian medical technology was based on biological databases that originated from Earth genetic patterns. Corvan navigation systems used astronomical calculations that could only have been developed from Sol system observations. This is impossible, Ambassador Kethvar said, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. If humans had such advanced civilization, what happened to it? Where did it go? It didn't go anywhere, Jin replied. It chose to hide. Our ancestors discovered that the galaxy experiences regular cosmic wave events. Every 50,000 years, massive radiation sweeps out from the galactic core. These waves destroy any species that hasn't developed proper shielding technology. Admiral Kim highlighted sections of the timeline showing regular catastrophic events. Our ancestors survived the last wave, but they realized something important. If they continued to dominate the galaxy with their technology, younger species would never develop their own capabilities. They would become dependent rather than strong. So they made a choice, Dr. Park continued. They dismantled their visible empire and went into what they called shepherding mode. For 50,000 years, we have guided galactic development from the shadows, providing just enough help to ensure progress without creating dependence. Elder Veltan was studying the data with growing excitement. The teachers who... Wait, he whispered. The ancient texts were true. Humans are the first shepherds mentioned in our oldest stories. But why reveal yourselves now? Asked Captain Sivara of the Hegemony Fleet. Her species was known for their logical approach to problems. Jin gestured toward a display showing the approaching cosmic wave. Because the cycle is beginning again. The wave you detected will arrive in 4 months. Without proper protection, it will destroy every technological civilization in the galaxy. And you have this protection? General Mortak asked suspiciously. Admiral Kim activated another display, showing the shield network that humanity had maintained throughout the galaxy. Hidden installations on hundreds of worlds, quantum resonance stations disguised as natural phenomena, and protective barriers that had been waiting in dormant mode for millennia. We have the technology to protect the galaxy, Admiral Kim confirmed. But operating it requires cooperation from every major species. No single civilization can activate the network alone. Ambassador Kethvar stared at the display, his pride warring with growing understanding. You're saying that our technology, our achievements, our entire civilization was built with your secret help? Not built, Jin corrected gently. Guided. Every innovation your species developed came from your own creativity and hard work. We simply provided small hints at crucial moments. A mathematical formula left where your scientists would find it. A materials sample that led to breakthrough discoveries. Navigation data that opened new trade routes. Your people earned every advancement they achieved, Dr. Park added. We just made sure they had the tools to succeed when they were ready for them. Elder Veltan was reviewing historical records on his ship. Captain, I'm finding confirmation of these claims throughout our archives. References to mysterious benefactors, unexplained technological gifts, and guidance that appeared at exactly the right moments. The question now, Admiral Kim said seriously, is whether the galaxy can work together to survive what's coming. The cosmic wave will arrive in 4 months. The shield network can protect us. But only if every species contributes their unique capabilities to its operation. General Mortok's mandibles clicked nervously. What kind of contributions are you talking about? Jin explained the requirements. Altarian quantum processing power to coordinate the shield frequencies. Zephyrian energy manipulation to power the network nodes. Corvan biological systems to maintain the organic components of the shields. Dozens of other species would need to provide their specialized knowledge and technology. And if we refuse? Ambassador Kethvar asked. Admiral Kim's expression grew sad. Then the wave will sweep through the galaxy as it has before. Some worlds might survive in isolated pockets. But galactic civilization as we know it will end. In 50,000 years, new species will evolve and develop, and the cycle will begin again. Captain Sivara studied the technical specifications with her characteristic thoroughness. These shield requirements are incredibly complex. How do we know this isn't some elaborate human trick to gain control over all our technologies? Because, Elder Veltan said quietly, if they wanted control, they could have taken it at any time over the last 50,000 years. They had the power to conquer us all. But instead, they chose to help us grow. The cosmic wave chose that moment to make its presence known more dramatically. Alerts began sounding on every ship as the wave's leading edge reached the outer systems of several civilizations. Quantum processors throughout the galaxy started experiencing cascade failures. The preliminary effects are accelerating, Dr. Park reported. Species on the galactic rim have less than 2 months before their technology becomes completely unreliable. Ambassador Kethvar looked at the failure reports coming in from Altarian colonies. His people were already struggling with system breakdowns that their best scientists couldn't understand or repair. Admiral Kim, he said slowly, if we agree to work with you, can you guarantee that our civilizations will survive? I can guarantee that we will give you the best possible chance, Admiral Kim replied honestly. But survival will still depend on how well we can all work together. The shield network isn't just technology. It's a test of whether the galaxy has matured enough to deserve advancement. Elder Veltan made the first decision. The Zephyrian Confederation will provide whatever assistance you require. We have searched for the first shepherds for 3,000 years. Now that we have found them, we will not turn away. One by one, other species began to agree. Some, like Captain Sivara, approached it as a logical necessity. Others, like General Mortok, agreed reluctantly, driven by reports of system failures in their territories. Ambassador Kethvar was the last to decide. He stared at the data showing human influence in Altarian history, his pride struggling with the reality of their situation. Very well, he said finally. The Altarian Empire will participate in your shield network. But understand this. When this crisis is over, there will need to be a complete reorganization of galactic society. Everything has changed. Jin nodded gravely. Everything changed 50,000 years ago, Ambassador. We're just finally admitting it. The real work was about to begin. The galaxy had accepted the truth about humanity's hidden role. But now, they had to prove they could work together to survive what was coming. Time was running out, and the cosmic wave showed no sign of slowing down. 2 months later, Captain Jin Seo-jun stood in the control center of Luna Base Prime, surrounded by representatives from 37 different species. The massive chamber hummed with activity, as beings who had never worked together before struggled to coordinate the most complex technological operation in galactic history. Altarian quantum processors are online, reported Commander Teshkol. His 4 arms moving across control surfaces designed by human ancestors 50,000 years ago. But we're getting resonance fluctuations in sectors 7 through 12. Dr. Park moved to assist him, her expertise in ancient human technology proving invaluable. Try adjusting the harmonic frequency by 0.003%. The quantum matrix needs to sync with the biological components. At another station, Elder Velton worked alongside Corvin technicians to calibrate energy flow patterns. The organic relays are responding well, he reported, his crystalline body chiming with satisfaction. My people's energy manipulation techniques are perfectly compatible with Corvin biological systems. The cosmic wave was now just 2 weeks away from Earth. Across the galaxy, the preliminary effects had grown severe. Entire star systems had lost faster-than-light communication. Quantum computers were failing in cascade patterns, and several civilizations had been forced to evacuate their outer colonies. Ambassador Kethvar stood beside Admiral Kim at the Central Command platform, watching displays that showed the SHIELD network's status across hundreds of worlds. The proud Altarian diplomat had changed considerably over the past months. "Admiral, I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "When I first learned the truth about human history, I felt betrayed, humiliated that my people's achievements were built on your secret guidance." Admiral Kim shook his head. "Every innovation your people developed came from your own intelligence and creativity. We simply made sure you had the right opportunities at the right times." "I understand that now," Kethvar replied. "More importantly, I understand why you did it. If humans had revealed your true capabilities 50,000 years ago, species like mine would have become dependent rather than strong. We would have stopped thinking for ourselves." Jin monitored communications from across the galaxy as the SHIELD network came online. Hidden installations that had waited in dormancy for millennia were awakening, their ancient technology interfacing seamlessly with modern galactic science. Status report from the Zephyrian Confederation. Came a transmission from Elder Velton's homeworld. All 14 of our systems show green across the board. The resonance patterns are stabilizing beautifully. Similar reports came in from dozens of other civilizations. The Corvin Republic's biological systems were functioning perfectly. The hegemony's mathematical processors were handling their assigned calculations without error. Even smaller species were contributing crucial elements to the network's operation. But the real test was still coming. "Wave contact in 72 hours, Dr. Park announced. "First impact will be at the galactic rim. Then it will sweep inward toward the core systems." Jin activated a galaxy-wide communication channel. "All stations, this is Luna Base Prime. Prepare for final synchronization test. This will be our last chance to identify any problems before the wave arrives." Across hundreds of star systems, ancient human technology interfaced with the unique capabilities of dozens of species. The SHIELD network that humanity's ancestors had designed was proving to be more than just a protection system. It was a test of cooperation on a scale never before attempted. Synchronization at 97%. Commander Teshkol reported. "That should be sufficient to maintain integrity during wave passage. Every 2. Armander. Markeram." Admiral Kim studied the readouts carefully. "It's not just about the technology working. Our ancestors built this system to require genuine cooperation. If any major species decided to withdraw their support, the entire network would fail." General Mortok, who had been skeptical from the beginning, proved the Admiral's point. "Human Admiral, my government is still concerned about sharing our biological secrets so freely. Some of our leaders worry about what humans might do with this knowledge after the crisis passes." Jin turned to face the Corvin general. General, I understand your concerns, but I want you to consider something. We've had access to your biological databases for 50,000 years. If we intended to harm your people, we've had ample opportunity to do so. Instead, Dr. Park added, we use that knowledge to help your people develop better medical treatments and agricultural techniques. Everything we did was designed to help you grow stronger, not weaker. The general's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Your point is well taken, Doctor. Very well. The Corvan Republic will maintain full cooperation with the network. As the cosmic wave drew closer, its effects became impossible to ignore. The leading edge was now striking the outer rim systems, and reports came in of spectacular but terrifying phenomena. Entire nebulae were lighting up with exotic radiation. Stars themselves seemed to flicker as the wave passed through their systems. First rim systems are confirming successful shield activation, came a report from the galactic edge. The Thessarian colonies report complete protection from wave effects. All technology remains functional. Cheers erupted in the Luna base control room, but Jin remained focused. The wave would take another 48 hours to reach the major galactic civilizations. Elder Veltan approached Jin with a thoughtful expression. Captain, I have been studying the ancient texts during these preparations. There are references to what happens after the wave passes. Civilizations that survive are said to be elevated in some way. Do you know what that means? Admiral Kim answered. The cosmic wave doesn't just test survival. It opens doorways to new levels of physics and technology. Species that can work together to resist the wave gain access to dimensional manipulation, time perception alteration, and energy control methods that are impossible under normal cosmic conditions. You're saying this crisis is also an opportunity? Ambassador Kethvar asked. The greatest opportunity any galactic cycle has ever seen, Admiral Kim confirmed. Because this is the first time in millions of years that so many species have successfully cooperated during a wave event. Previous cycles usually saw only one or two civilizations survive in isolation. The wave struck the major systems 18 hours later. Jin watched in awe as the shield network held against forces that defied understanding. Streams of exotic energy that could have sterilized entire planets were deflected harmlessly into space. But more amazing than the technology was the cooperation it required. Altarian quantum processors worked in perfect harmony with Zephyrian energy systems. Corvan biological networks interfaced seamlessly with dozens of other species' technologies. Every major civilization in the galaxy was contributing their unique strengths to a shared defense. Wave passage complete for all major systems, Dr. Park announced. Every participating civilization reports successful protection. Technology levels are actually improving as the wave's secondary effects take hold. Jin noticed that the displays around the control room were showing readings he had never seen before. The ancient human technology was responding to the wave's passage by unlocking capabilities that had been dormant for 50,000 years. Admiral, he said wonderingly, are we seeing what I think we're seeing? Admiral Kim smiled. Dimensional fold generators, temporal perception enhancers, quantum consciousness interfaces. Your ancestors built all of this into the network, but it only activates when civilizations prove they can work together despite their differences. Ambassador Kethvar stared at a display showing new technological possibilities opening up throughout the galaxy. This changes everything. With these capabilities, the barriers between our civilizations become meaningless. We could share knowledge, resources, even consciousness itself if we chose to. But only if we continue to choose cooperation over competition, Jin said. The technology won't work for species that try to use it for domination or exploitation. Our ancestors made sure of that. General Mortok looked around the control room at the representatives of dozens of species working together. Not the technology itself, but the wisdom to understand that true advancement requires maturity. As the cosmic wave completed its passage through the galaxy, Jin received reports from across known space. Not only had every participating civilization survived, but they were all experiencing technological and social advances that would have taken millennia to achieve naturally. Elder Veltan's people gained the ability to directly manipulate energy at the quantum level. The Korvan Republic discovered biological enhancement techniques that could extend lifespans indefinitely. The Altarian Empire developed quantum computers that could process information across multiple dimensions simultaneously. But perhaps the most important change was in how the species viewed each other. The forced cooperation of the crisis had broken down barriers that had existed for thousands of years. Captain Jin, Ambassador Kethvar said formally, the Altarian Empire requests permission to establish a permanent cooperative research station in this system. We believe there is much we can learn by working closely with humanity. Similar requests came in from other civilizations. The galaxy was reorganizing itself around principles of cooperation and shared advancement rather than competition and territorial control. Dr. Park stood beside Jin as they watched the last of the cosmic wave's energy dissipate into intergalactic space. 50,000 years of hidden guidance. And it all led to this moment. Your ancestors would be proud. Jin nodded, thinking about the ancient humans who had made the difficult decision to hide their achievements so that future generations could discover the value of cooperation. I think they knew this day would come. They just had to wait for the rest of the galaxy to grow up. The great experiment was complete. Humanity had revealed its true nature, not as conquerors or masters, but as teachers and guardians who had spent 50 millennia patiently helping their younger siblings reach maturity. The galaxy would never be the same. But for the first time in its history, it was truly united in purpose and potential. The age of the hidden shepherds was over, and the age of open cooperation was about to begin.